we're doing, what you guys say. So we are spending a lot of time right now trying to develop what we're calling micro networks. So we, have 175 gardens around the city, but they cluster for sure. If you look at them on the map, right? And they're connected to a particular locality that makes some sense for them to know each other. So Laura's gone to a great length to try and organize these guys in clusters so that they can share resources. They might be able to share who they know that can help them out from the city or other resources. And then they just have someone else that they can go ask, what do you do about this? Or I have a wait list. Do you need any gardener? All that sort of linkages would be natural. We're trying to promote in a very intentional way with these micro networks. And our most evolved one is in Northwest Aurora, which is a suburb of Denver, and very low income, very urbanizing neighborhood with a lot of different ethnicities. And for instance, one of the network has developed really well, and they have their own annual competition, and they have their own. The city promotes the network, and they have their own sort of opening day meeting that this city helps run. And we promote that. We don't need to. We go, but we don't need to take that over. Sort of this is a good thing that you are all owning this and owning your own network, and that you're promoting it citywide. One of the things that has come out of it is one of the new guards is an organization that has this fabulous and very well developed translation capacity. There's so many languages in this part of the city that is something we promote to all the other guards that are struggling with communication issues. So anyway, yeah, we're doing exactly that. Other ideas?
You could offer your technical training workshops, train whatever you schedule purposely at different sites so that gardeners have to go visit one another if they want to learn something.
Great idea. We're in particular, things come to mind on that we're doing around that is with our master composter training program. That we have one particular site where people come to that, or just the general public to learn the session. And our master composter trainees go train at that session, at that location. But now we decided that we need to do that in more regional locations with these micro networks, so that the site becomes more than just for gardeners to learn about composting. The neighbors could come here and learn it and see the site in the gardens of the neighborhood as a resource also.
We also have a Grow Garden program, which is a low-cost seeds transplant education program that is offered at different sites where people go to pick up their transplants. The class is held there, and at the site Michael mentioned, it was translated into 3 different languages, and our location was translated into Spanish.
Facilitating a tour of gardens?
Not really. And the Northwest Aurora cluster has a tour that's promoted citywide. Folks can come to.
I'm in Chicago, and we used to bring all these residents together through their various parent agencies for the Black Together term. About 5 years ago, the garden groups themselves were mobilized and formed a coalition that is now citywide and inclusive of any kind of conference. They have adopted greenhouse space, and they do permanent plant giveaways every few weeks, it seems. They've taken a really active social media presence, and their whole goal is to for gardeners, by gardeners, grants. I feel like some of us in the room are more organizational support people, and it's difficult to think with one at the same time. So we're not necessarily in the same role. So this was their avenue for connecting with one another really early in the process.
I know, just in case anybody else wants to leave early, this is more information about the CAPS study Michael mentioned. We'll put those out, you can grab one on your way out. I'll pass them around. Okay. Yes.
In our area, we've done some of what you talked about, but sort of bridge that gap between the institutions and the gardeners. We have what we call the community garden network, and it's a set of partners that are not only
you.
Leaders, but some of the folks who offer support for community gardens. So our county sustainability office sits at the table along with our extension office and others. And we get together once a month. We try to do some programming as part of that conversation. Somebody highlights a particular garden. Last year we hosted our first day-long conference, and it was gardeners teaching gardeners. Our master gardener program is very involved, as well as our school gardens through the line. So it's evolving, and I guess for us, we've been taken under the wing of the local sustainability nonprofit, which sort of gives us another edge and another avenue to kind of crosswalk that between a group of people. That's great.
We have that same thing with some of the cities that have a sustainability office or a school district or whatever.
We sort of give them space on our social media presence so that we kind of cross-promote all of their opportunities so that our gardeners get the full range. Because if you're only getting the newsletter from the extension office or only getting it from, master gardeners or whatever, you're not really getting the full range of what might be out there in those different students.
Ideas?
What about work groups? Work groups. Ideas where, a garden is working on a big project and wants extra people, extra hands who can make connections with. Yeah.
So the other thing we're doing around supporting, a lot of times we're doing it way behind the scenes, but it's sometimes it's pretty critical. We're working on that at the higher level, sort of regional work around food systems, and an example of that is policy work. As we just helped get a reclaimed water law passed through the legislature, which is critical to us because in Denver, reclaimed water is being used in a lot of the major parks and school districts, and is becoming more so. It's called the purple pipe in our state, and it's actually cleaner than anyone here from San Diego. Cleaner than San Diego's drinking water. There's a stigmas behind it and worries about it, and the health department's kind of behind, a little bit backwater about it. That's not a very good comment. Anyways, so we had one of our staff people spending 4 or 5 years making sure that the water supplier, Denver Water, was working us through the process so that reclaimed water can be used for community gardening food projects. It just got passed, and so those kinds of things where we always have to remind all of our garden leaders that you're part of a bigger system, and this system has pressures on it, and some of those pressures are trying to delegitimize what you're doing and make it temporary, or make it, think of it as a pet project that a few people just do. And we were spending a lot of time making sure agencies and other stakeholders in the city know, the value of community gardens and the value of community that's being built in those gardens, and that we got to constantly make them legitimate along the way. So we're spending a lot of time on policy at school districts around protocols and background checks and all that behind the scenes stuff that you need to do to make them, people in institutions feel good about them. But that also has helped sort of secondarily to build that partnership with a lot of our landowners, because they see that you're in it for a long haul, that you're helping to work through their sort of systems and their institutional rules and protocols. And then they start to own the project themselves, and then they start to promote it. And so then the gardens, we have a city suburb called Westminster, in which their parks department, we helped them build a half a dozen gardens in their system, and they took them over. They finally said, you know what, you're just there as technical support. You don't need to be doing all the work that you're doing for us. We should be doing this, taking on these gardens in our parks as a primary thing that we do. And so we'll call you when we need you. And it's just been a great, sort of example of that process. Other things that before we.
There's more policy work to do.
Yeah, we don't even.
Yeah. Policy. Food banks. There's Fresh Food Connect is something that started just a couple of years ago, and it's a partnership between Denver Urban Gardens, Denver Food Rescue, and Brown Park Denver. And essentially youth on a bicycle go to backyard and community gardens, pick up extra produce, and then take it to communities in need. And that's
Yeah.
a great partnership.
Right, so the idea was, this idea came from within our network where Butch was saying, we got this surplus produce this time of year right now, and we see it go to waste, and we either, our garden hasn't developed partnership with this food bank or with our rescue group, but what about that sort of hyper-local rescuing that could happen and get invested back into that particular, our neighborhood? I don't want to see this go, I want to see it go back to my neighbors, Is there a way we can do that? So, yeah, the partnership we developed with these two other organizations that have their skill set, which is the rescue group, knows what they're doing when it comes to food rescue and all of that. And then the youth organization that's sort of environmentally based youth projects has the sort of manpower to do that micro level collection. We've got this great, electric assist tricycle with a big old, refrigeration unit on the back, and it's pretty stout vehicle, and they just go back. And the key with it all is it's an app. I forgot to say that. That's all it is. Yeah, that's right. It's very high tech. So if you're a donor, like a backyard gardener or a community gardener, you could say, we know you. We have this many pounds for pickup on Wednesday, and so then the youth organization knows their route and say, okay, Wednesday we're going here, here, and here, and this is where we're taking it to this local food bank here in this neighborhood. It's zip code based. Just as an aside, that project is heading towards going nationwide. So if any of you are interested in Fresh Food Connect, it's a very simple project to adopt in your locality. Just go to Fresh Food Connect. We're a partner in it. I don't have to think. I'm on the board of the darn thing.
Yeah, I think it's not for us. Or you can always reach out to.
Just look up Fresh Food Connect. And it's a really simple, you just get sort of a toolkit from our partnership, how to do it, how to set it up, and it's good because it kind of grows, incrementally. And if it suits a need that is in your community, it's an easy thing to. And you have to have an organization that wants to take it on, but it's not that difficult to take on. Because again, and you might even have a partner in your community that's a food rescue organization that kind of knows, that has volunteers that like to go do that kind of thing. Well, this is just a way to simplify that process for backyard and community garden service.
I hate to do this because I love to hear you guys talk for like the rest of the weekend, but it's
We're done.
4:23,
We're done.
and
Oh my
I just
gosh.
know that the buses leave for the thing.
Oh, no.
Thank you so much for your time.
So I hate to do that, I'm sorry.
It's